range of them, you can sometimes still get them when you're closed captioning because captions will pop up kind of at the bottom of your screen. That being said, we're going to go on to just some of the other tips and tricks that that I just wanted to cover. So we're gonna have confidence. You always want to have confidence in yourself, just to make sure you can get into and out of scenarios. Confidence is going to be one of the bigger things that's really going to impact how you're playing and how you're acting. Just because you are, if you're down the game, you don't want to kind of get into your own head too much or anything like that. So just making sure you're always staying positive and imagining that you can win is going to get you over the finish line as well. Um, Make sure how you're approaching these games are going to be in relation to how you're going to play them as well. So Hanover, I noticed just last game. Obviously, we didn't have too much time to play together today, unfortunately. You guys were kind of goofing around and punching one another. So I just wanted to kind of bring that back around. And if you're with us, Slug, again, here is the code currently. So you go ahead and type that in if you are here now, sir. Um, so that is, again, going to be one of the things, just depending on how you're playing. While it's okay to obviously punch each other and fool around with one another because this is a video game, we just want to make sure that we are just keeping in mind that the game that we're going to be playing in a few moments is going to be a ranked competitive match. So we just want to make sure our attitude towards the game is reflecting what we want to get out of the game, just to make sure we're taking it seriously as well. Um, the best thing that you can do in any video game that involves competitiveness is staying alive. Staying alive means you're always going to be a threat to the enemy. They obviously can charge you and do whatever they want with you, but really just staying alive, you're always going to be that threat that they're always going to have to worry about in the back of their mind, no matter what. From that point on, we have playing coordinated. Little Dog, recently, I've had to tell you a few times just to make sure that we're playing with our team. There's really no excuse to not be playing with your team. I don't know if you think that you're the jump master or something, so you jumped out a little bit early. But let's just look before we leap, just because that can really hinder our performance as well. From that point on, one of the things that we can also work on is evaluating your own gameplay, and doing self audits, watching clips, and watching yourself play as well. I'm sure you all know what OBS is. You probably all know what Twitch is. I don't know if you need like your parents to sign off when you have a Twitch account, but even if you're just like going to stream to yourself, just so that you can go back in the future and watch the games that you're playing, just so you can watch over your mistakes. You can figure out if you're making any of the same mistakes repetitively, just so you can stop making them in the future as well. So again, just really being cognizant of the choices that we're making, that's going to go a little bit further to ensure that we're doing it like that as well. Slug, are you with us, sir? Oh, the booger, sorry, I apologize.
Hey, is Little Dog streaming his Discord?
No, Little Dog's not true. I apologize for yelling at you, Slug, I apologize. Uh, Booger, are you here, sir? So I can yell at you instead? Mr. Boogie. Okay, whatever, going on with my monologue. Um, I don't know, I don't really think we figured out who's team lead. Um, Currently, as far as Towson's concerned, I'm noticing Mason's talking a little bit more than the other guys. He'll probably end up being team lead in just a little bit, but we just have to pay attention to that. As far as Hanover's concerned, do we know who's the team lead, or do you guys kind of just play together and whoever just happens to be the one to make the right call at that point in time is the team lead? Sure. So we'll probably just work on that as the weeks come on by, just to be sure that if there's ever like a moment of hesitation or anything like that, there's always should be somebody with a plan that we can go ahead. I don't think they have to ready up.
Well, his is on like standby. Okay, now he's back.
Okay. Well, we just need to make sure Booger is here, but Boogie's not with us. Mr. Boogie.
Is little dog not able to stream or
Little, I don't think so. I've tried to message him in the chat and everything like that
never
about
get
it.
a response from him?
So, um, okay. Just again, following your team lead. If you guys want to, you guys can come up with one. But that's going to be on you guys to come up with. It's harder to hear you guys' communication. I do try to listen to the best that I can. But if you guys just start playing, I probably, if you guys can, maybe like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you guys can afford to play for like an hour or 90 minutes together, just so you guys are a little bit more acclimated to playing together, that'll go a little bit further. I know two of you guys were playing yesterday. I forget who that was. I think it was Slug and Dookie, but I might be mistaken. Cool. Just keep playing together, and you guys will figure out who it is. Be aware of the circle movement. I know that's really obvious, so that really goes without saying. Again, Boogie, are you here, sir? It's getting close to the time. You have 5 minutes. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Oh, you're here? Yes, sir. The lobby code's on the screen. Can you go ahead and ready up for me? While you're typing that in, I know you've been AFK for a little bit. Oh, it looks like we're just disconnected. Rip. Let me know if you need the code again, and I'll go back to the screen. Can I just copy this? That's way too easy. Oh, okay. Chat, Towson. It moves so slowly. Okay. You should have it now. While you were AFK, I was just kind of talking to these guys about some of the talking points that I've come up with. You missed kind of a little bit of a tirade. Glad you're finally in the game. But we've went through pretty much all of this stuff, which is kind of just game sensey. You can go ahead, read it for yourself. It's pretty much what it says. Just being confident, making sure that even if we're playing from behind, you're still keeping a positive attitude, and just really not getting in your own head and giving up before the game's over. You never know what can happen. Stupid stuff happens all the time. So really just being adaptable and just always playing like you want to win is going to get you further because of it. I went over already playing competitive, unranked, and team play mindset. I noticed again you guys were jumping around and punching one another on the rooftop. Really not a big deal while you guys are playing pub matches. In the weekends, let's try to keep it a little bit more serious in the future. Really no big deal. I didn't mention it because you guys didn't have a lot of time to play together this week. Staying alive, obviously you stay alive, you're always a threat. Play coordinated, make sure you guys are always talking. Evaluate your own gameplay. I mentioned like setting up your own stream on Twitch or on YouTube. I don't know if you guys might need parental consent or anything like that to get it done. But just going back and watching your own gameplay, see if you're making the same mistakes over and over again and just learning from that. Follow your team lead. I mentioned to them, I don't think you guys have a team lead. You guys told me that you guys don't really have a team lead. We'll try to find one of those in the coming days. But that's really neither here nor there. Be aware of your surroundings. Listen to footsteps. Listen to like arc throws if there's any abilities you might hear or ults or anything like that. Bloodhound lets out a blood-curdling howl from miles away. You hear him breathing heavy or very breathing heavy, so just be aware of that. Circle movement, just really.
That's why I always agree whenever I'm trying to push a team and I make out Bloodhound. I always just hear.
Right. Exactly. Circle movement, that's what it says it is. Just making sure you're always playing a circle, whether you're going to be on the hot or the cold side of the circle, meaning if teams are going to be pushing into you. Utilizing all of your roles relative to your soft abilities for your shields. Interact with your role-specific interactive, kind of like how Pathfinder should always be trying to find the circle expansions just because that's going to get you closer to your next shield. making sure anybody who picks a support character is going to open a support chest, just because that's going to be better for them. Making sure anybody who's playing assault is opening the assault chest, so on and so forth. Play the map and its size. Be mindful of third parties and lend to third party. Again, World's Edge is kind of a small map that we're working on today. We don't really know where other teams are going to be landing. So just be aware of where you might get pinched. Make sure you know where to pinch people. Know when to third party, when it's appropriate or when it's not appropriate. The longer third parties going on, the more third parties that are going to third party. So just being aware of that. Positioning, make sure you're hiding and using your shields. We want to be using shield cells when we're out of combat. We want to be using shield batteries when we're in combat. Shield batteries heal your entire health pool. It does take a little bit longer, but it's going to get you the entire thing. Shield cells are for during the boring times when you have the time to spare. We need to be a smart player. That's what I've been talking about this entire time. I'm going to harp on it. Just thinking about what we're doing when we're doing it and why we are doing it as well. We need to leave players who are down out in the open. You can use them to track enemies based on how they move. So earlier in the video, we saw how the individual was working on his positioning. He was on the roof. He didn't chase after the person who was down. I'm going to shut up now. You guys are getting into the game. Good luck, you guys. Good luck, good luck, good luck.
So, yeah, where the hell is it on XP League? So where we find on XP League?
Oh, it's on the Twitch.
Oh, on Twitch. Oh, we gotta go to Twitch.
Yeah.
I was going to XP League.
Of course not. That's all you were. Of course not. That'd be easy. Oh, well, I think you can find it now that we're here. Just do XP League.
Channel. Not here.
Hello and welcome back to week 3 of the Spring Split presented by XP League. My name is Cody, or Code Red, and I will be your host today for another week of these talented players going head to head to find out who will be the Apex champion today. So we're going to start our day off on World's Edge. So we're switching from these two maps, Olympus and World's Edge. I'm sorry, Storm Point and World's Edge every week, and we're back to our World's Edge. So we'll see how week 1 changes how these teams play on this map and how they've adjusted throughout We'll see as they drop in here. Some of these teams have stuck with the same spots throughout the entirety of this season and the previous, while others have decided to change it up as they go. It just shows the adversity these players have, or the adversity they've overcome in these events as they come out on top. But taking a look over here towards our western side of the map, we have quite a few players landing over here, and we'll take a look at them. Shogun 2, Flooper Kid, and Rain starting their trek out here as a duo. A lot to prove for this team in this event. Having only 2 players to work with can be very difficult in situations, especially when you're put up against these top tier teams and you're forced to take a 2v3. That player disadvantage can be so harmful for these players. We'll take a look at Franklin Wales, who have looked to start off here on the edge of the map. They've controlled this location. Now they're looking around to see if they can find anybody. A drone is out. They've been detected by it, so some information going the way of this Bearded Dragon squad who's contesting this team. They have information. They know where these players are. Mark's coming out, and Bearded Dragon, Zero, Vibes, and Minty, they're looking to put on a show for us here. A triple take in the hands of Minty. That RE45 as well to back it up there. That swap weapon is so important in these fights. Being able to change weapons at the right moment and the right point in time gives you such an advantage in these fights. And we'll see what Minty can do. That sniper. You have to hold down that scope. You have to wait for it to charge up a little bit to get as much damage out of it as possible. And you can see these players just scoping in, looking around the area, but no fight really coming of it. And Franklin Wales will rotate out. They don't want to take this fight too early. A lot of this game is about placement, and these teams are going to strive for that. But let's take a look over at more of our northern portion of the map here. The few teams surrounding this area will switch over here to Troy Evo A, who looks to be just camping out on the top of a building, maybe deciding what their next course of action will be here. In Advexity, DJ Fort Pro, and Shrieker are the 3 players that make up this squad. They're trying to make a name for themselves in these events. We haven't seen a ton from them thus far, and we'll see if they can pick it up or change up their strategy a bit more as we come into our later weeks of the spring split. Now just taking the zip line. I think Shrieker maybe misclicked there, jumping off just a bit early now. Going back up to follow his teammates over here towards the center of map location. The epicenter is where they're headed to. And maybe spotting out some players around this location. We'll see if we can check out who that is. And that's Shogun 2. We spotted them early on. They were the duo. If Flooper Kid and Rain just maybe trying to put up some loot here and get themselves in a better position for late game of this match. So Epicenter being the center of attention for them, at least. They're going to try and
got my ultimate ready.
Find some upgrades around this area to put them in a better position. But we'll take a look at maybe some fights going down here. Diesel just taking some chip shots on the Roughnecks. Diesel not in a great position. Both of his teammates have been taken out of the match, and Diesel really put in a sticky situation here, forced to play as a solo. And it's so difficult in a game like this. Apex, not the same as Fortnite. You can't build, you can't place all these builds and put this cover around yourself. You're forced to play out in the open. You're forced to find cover in these natural oases. And we'll see what Diesel can do here. But it seems like there's a fight breaking out here. Franklin Phoenix being that team. And they're going to start to move in here. Noah, Buffalo, and Dario trying to find some damage here. Buffalo's able to find a lot, and they will find those eliminations. 3 of those players being eliminated, and Franklin Phoenix strikes down another opponent. And week after week, this team just gets better and better. They've shown us how much they can do in these events, how they can win so easily. It seems effortless for this team again and again, and they'll continue to dominate the scenes here today. Taking a look back at the map here, maybe covering one of our teams around here. Or maybe another fight going down at least. Could be for Towson Triton. They got to be careful here. Dog. Good night, Dog, taking a lot of damage. Has to rotate off here, but not going to be able to do so. His two teammates now still alive in this fight. Mason trying to lay down some cover fire, maybe some damage coming out. Shield crack. And good things to come from it. But Marquet goes down. And now it's all on to Mason. Low HP, no shields to play with. That health drone coming out, but it's not going to be in time. And Gnome Darts, another one of the dominant teams in this event, will find those eliminations, will find that damage, and take out those enemy players. Again, Gnome Darts, they've shown us what they're made of throughout these weeks, throughout the previous winter split, and in our winter cup. And they'll continue to dominate these leagues. They'll continue to show why they're one of the teams to be feared in these events. And how can you not talk about this team? Sandbean, Mr. Tiger Fox, and Dr. Ingenious are always at the top of the leaderboard, always at the top of our minds. And they'll continue to put themselves in those situations to win matches. But we take a look back at our map again here. We're going to keep switching in between to cover these fights as they go down. And one of these teams that is maybe looking to get crept up on here is Booger, Slug Life, and Dookie. And they spot a team out in the distance, just waiting to take these shots. Booger, he's so patient with this Spitfire. Not confident in laying down a lot of damage from this range. They just want to scout out where these players, where these teams could rotate. Just have a general knowledge of their positioning. And it looks like Booger, he wants to get aggressive. No, just going to play patience. Again, this team, Hanover Horde, just playing for these placements, deciding not to take these shots. Just taking their time. You see that Sentinel charged up. But no shots ringing true here. No shots ringing out at all. And Hanover Horde will just play it silently. Crouching around, creeping around the map. Putting themselves in a position they believe to be better off. Again, yeah, just laying down these marks. They have a decent position here to look out all these teams around, and they're going to base their rotate around where these teams are. They don't want to run into these fights early on. They don't want to run into what could be a third party or the end of the match for them. And instead, they're going to take a wide rotate around here. You can see those pings coming out, communicating where these players are and what they're doing. And Hanover Horde, they just want to work their way around it. They don't want to go for these fights early on. This damage could be detrimental for them later on in their shields. You have to know how many of those they have to be able to heal up from these fights, or what they can do, or what fights they can take in this position. They hear players nearby. Octane taking a bit of damage there. Booger, he decides to start taking some shots. He wants to pressure these teams off, so this team's not afraid to fight. They just only want to take fights that they have the advantage in. Like so many of these other teams.
Let's go over there.
That is the case. And now, Flooper, Rain, maybe put in a difficult situation here. Rain taking quite a bit of damage. Just using those injections to get a little bit further away, but Rain, he's not going to be quick enough and gets taken down.
Care package over there.
Flooper now left alone in this match. That Mozambican alternator to work with. Not the greatest loot in the hands of Flooper. And at least for now, he's just going to play the survival game. Doesn't want to go for these fights. Doesn't want to try for that res on his teammate. A little bit too risky at this point. And as a duo, your whole game is just based around playing for this survival. Finding a rat position where you can survive just for a little bit longer, where you might not be caught out, but he is going to go for the res. Flooper. The res comes through onto Rain, and Rain will be brought back up. You see that portal coming down, trying to rotate out of this position, and trying to give a little bit of cover for Rain.
I think someone's targeting me.
That passive ability, telling that there's somebody nearby aiming at them. I think Flooper accidentally took that portal, but gonna go right back to Rain. For now, they'll be alive. But a team that might not be alive for much longer is No Mowers. As Midnight Rider gets taken down. Air Demolition, the only player remaining for this squad now. Just dipping, dodging, and weaving their way away from this fight. And for how much longer will Air Demolition be able to survive in this match? Both of the teammates being taken down. Midnight Rider, STN eliminated from this match, and Air Demolition looks like they're gonna follow. Popping those shield batteries to get those shields back up quickly, but you see that sonar being detected. Franklin Phoenix, they want to strike. They want to find this last elimination, and they're gonna be chasing them down. That 30-30 repeater coming out for Buffalo Hide, and he's going to work his way up this left side, finding the damage with the Prowler and ripping the shields off. And eventually, finding that elimination will be Noah. Franklin Phoenix, they have some maxed out shields already. We'll see what they can do out of this. Again, this team finds these eliminations for Noah already. 5 assists for Buffalo Hide. And our kill leader, Dario, with 4 himself. Now, pushing in for another team. They saw that res come down. They can look to put themselves in a better position here and find that damage onto a player that might not have the best shields at the beginning of this fight. And Dario, he's going to find a few shots with this flat knife, and he might find that elimination. He finds it onto 1, yes. And now working his way in, cracking those shields, looking for that damage. And Dario has done so much in this fight already. Just spraying through that wall, blindly shooting through it, still able to find those shots. And even more damage coming out. Dario,
Was there any doubt I'd hit
still looking to aggress here. We'll switch over to one of his teammates, Noah. Has this flatline as well. Such a powerful weapon for these mid to long range engagements. You can lay down damage so quickly with it, and you can see just tap firing it to hit those shots. Noah, it looks like he can't miss, finds a shield crack onto 1. And Noah just hitting so many of these shots consistently. Another one of these weapons is so good for these mid-range engagements and long ranges. This 30-30 repeater, and I think we've seen it become more of a popular choice for these players throughout the season. We've seen Franklin Phoenix utilize it time after time, get themselves in a better position for these fights, and you can see shots coming down from Buffalo Hide onto these players. Panning around the map here. You can see maybe a fight going down here for Gnome Darts. They're going to find elimination onto 1 player, and maybe some more to come here. Tiger Fox spots out another. That Wingman finds the crack in shield. And 45 damage per shot. What more could you ask for with such a powerful weapon here? And maybe Ingenious finishing that player off there. Now, teams just trying to find a position in this last zone. We take a look at the map here, and we see where it starts to pull. And teams like Flooper Kid and Rain are going to have to be careful here. Teams like Hanover Horde, maybe they need to start their rotate in here.
I say we move this way.
You see marks coming out, communication from these teams.
Heads up, check out this way.
And they're going to start moving their way up this mountain. Maybe running into another team over here. But more fights going down. Gnome Darts popping some shields as they rotate in. A supply drop to their left. It seems like it's already been opened up.
Yes.
Getting more and more loot for this team. We'll see. Maybe Gnome Darts put in a difficult situation here with so many teams surrounding them, but a shield crack, and it looks like they're up to the task here. Ingenious already finding that damage. We heard a knock from behind. And triple take. Now Sandbean actually in a difficult situation here. Has to rotate down, regroup with his teammates. Tiger Fox taking a lot of damage as well. That shield battery will get popped. That Wingman will be pulled out. Now they're going to regroup. They're going to try to get one of these buildings, and they're going to find an elimination on the way. Tiger Fox able to finish that player off. Shots coming through. Tiger Fox has to be careful here. You can see him start to pop these shield batteries. Again, players moving in. A nade in front of them. That barrier coming out, just nearly saving them. And Gnome Darts, you have to be careful here. Franklin Phoenix is outside, and they're ready to prowl onto them. These two teams, these two Titans, begin to battle it out here. Looking to king themselves, or crown themselves king of this match. And Franklin Phoenix looking down here, looking for just a sliver of these players sticking out. And Dario, he's got to be careful here. Didn't realize that player had rotated outside. Now we have some fights going down on the other side. Bearded Dragons, Minty taken down. 0 Vibes still in this fight. Gnome Ants above. They found that damage. They're going to continue to look to push in here. And shots coming down. Gaka being taken low on HP. And Bearded Dragons now only just a duo in this match. Playing around this building, the zone will start to rotate in. These teams will start to crunch in on each other. One of these other teams that we haven't seen too much of this match is Troy Evo A. We checked into them early on, but it looks like they've just been playing that survival game. They'll continue to do that. They're just trying to find a location where they can set up shop, where they can put themselves in a better position to win this match. They don't want to get pinched between these teams. Gnome Darts, though, they're looking for some damage onto Franklin Phoenix, and they'll find those eliminations. Franklin Phoenix drops, and Sandbeam, with 7 eliminations now, crowns himself the kill leader of this match. This triple take, the choice weapon for Sandbeam here. See barriers starting to come out, cover being laid down. Rampart, such a useful agent in these scenarios where you can't have, there isn't a lot of natural cover. You have to build it yourself, and that's exactly what Sandbeam's going to do for his team here. Lay down that cover, give him a little bit more space to work with. They've done a great job of controlling this zone. Ingenious, a little bit separate from his teammates. But just playing around the central structure. You see a genius. He wants to prevent these teams from rotating into zone. Doesn't want to allow them to have this chance. And Troy Evo A, they've been able to survive to this point. They don't need to fight. They're just playing a survival game. Eventually, these teams will be forced on to each other. And Gnome Darts against this Gnome Ants team might decide the winners of this match. Troy Evo A, looks like they're going to be crunched in between a few teams here. They have to be careful of it. Convicity, no shields, needs to pop them, but Zone going to force this team in. It doesn't seem like they have any remaining, and that's not a good sign for this team. If they don't have those shields, they can't heal up later on, and Invixity going to start to make their way out, but DJ 4 Pro falls, and now these teams will start to crunch in. You can see the smoke coming out to lay down some cover. And Shrieker is now left alone. That supply drop coming out, but at what cost? The lives of his 2 teammates, and now Shrieker trying to put down some shots, but it's not going to be able to do so, and now it's all on a Gnome Darts. It's all on to nobody else. Gnome Darts will find the last eliminations and crown themselves the winners of this match. Your Apex Legends for our first match of the day. And Mr. Tiger Fox, Dr. Ingenious, and Sandbeam. I feel like a broken record talking about this team, but they continue to dominate these events and continue to show why they are such a threat to these top teams. We'll take a look at the leaderboard here to end off our first match, give you guys a little bit of an insight as to how it all broke down in the stats and how many eliminations were dropped by each of these teams. And Gnome Darts, 21 eliminations, eliminating over a third of the lobby, if not half, and they do so well to crown themselves the winners of that first match. Gnome Ants coming in second place with 5 eliminations. Troy Evo A were able to slip in there on third. Bearded Dragons in fourth, and Franklin Phoenix fall a little bit short of their normal pace and they get 9 eliminations and 5th. But we have more to come. One more match of our Gold League Spring. After another dominant performance from the Gnome Dart squad, we move our way into our match 2 of the spring split. And we'll take a look at how these teams can combat that Gnome Dart squad. I mean, 21 eliminations. You can tell why these teams play so passively or want to play more for that passive play style for placement points.
This might be a good place to land.
When Gnome Darts are just dominating, looking for any fight they can take.
Let's land here.
There's a reason why these teams want to sit around, want to play for that endgame opportunity, for that third-party opportunity to take every one of these fights in an advantageous spot.
Over there looks fun. Forget I said anything.
We'll see this top left of the map actually being covered by quite a few teams here. We'll take a look at who that is. Shogun, Triangle EXP, or Triangle XP, Gate, and Slime, or Slim Eagle. I think it's Slim Eagle. We're gonna go with that. But Shogun starting their way off up at the top of this map, and we'll see what loot they can find around this area. A few teams around here, so they have to be careful of actually taking some early fights here. Looks like Overjoyed is a solo in this match, but maybe some fights going down here early on for what looks to be Troy Evo B. Yoking already gone down. Now left on to his 2 teammates, EJ Rider, EJ Dead Rider, and Solar System Wolf. See, Rampart used so much in these matches to set up these barriers to put this little bit of cover around the map. Troy Evo B, they gotta be careful here. Gnome Darts is nearby. And this team is aggressive. They look for these fights, but Sandbeam maybe getting caught out a little bit off guard there, and shield is cracked. Tiger Fox, I'm sure, and a Genius gonna be there to back him up. They're a bit far off. Sandbeam kind of left on his own right now, but seems like Tiger Fox is catching up now. And Genius pretty close by as well. So Troy Evo B is gonna have to be careful here.
Pretty sure someone's got a shot on me.
2 players, just a duo remaining.
We've got an Evo
Such a
harvester
strong
here.
team to be put up against in this match.
Cancel that, mate. Hey, let's check out over there, mate.
Some Evo being harvested there for EJ. He can hear this team near him. You can hear that zipline go off, and gotta be careful of it. Barriers being placed.
Could have something good here.
And that ultimate for EJ to work with could be good if he does come up against this trio. It doesn't look like they're going to have that situation any longer. Well, as I say that,
I've upgraded.
Mr. Tiger Fox is looking to follow along this squad here. We'll see if that ultimate ability comes out, that EMP. Used in a situation, you can see, yeah, Tiger Fox, he wants to take this fight. He wants to get into it and aggress onto these players, and shots coming down, not landing initially. Mr. Tiger Fox damaging these players, going up the zip line. See that R301 to lay down some fire. Damage coming out, players following up. You can see them taking that zip line. If they can get just a little bit away from them, might dissuade Gnome Darts from pushing in, but it doesn't look like one player was able to get away. And Gnome Darts will find their 2nd elimination of the match.
I think we should move that way.
Towson Triton, we switch over to their POV here. And it looks like Gnome Darts might be moving into their location. EJ, he was able to get away for now. For how much longer? Maybe a fight unfolding up here towards the top of the map, though. Gnome blazes. They're going to be working their way in here. We have YT, Salt, Saberific, and Prince Sloth. Prince Sloth has already dropped. Salt and Saberific have to be aware of this disadvantage they might face going into this match. Bearded Dragons are here to fight, here to jump up and take these aggressive approaches to this fight. Zero trying to lay down some damage. Minty was caught in the open there. Looks like Minty might be taking some damage. Shots coming out. Saberific can't find it though. 3 players rush in now. YT Salt, the only player left remaining for the Gnome Blazes.